What is your go to never fail joke? A woman is sitting at her recently deceased husband's funeral. A man leans into her and asks, "Do you mind if I say a word?" "No, go right ahead," the woman replies. The man stands, clears his throat, says plethora, and sits back down. "Thanks," the woman says, "that means a lot." Stares into existence, like I'm in the office. Why did the half-blind man fall into a well? He couldn't see that well. Why doesn't blind people clean up after their guide dog's mess? Because they can't see shit. Okay, but seriously, how do blind people clean up after their dogs? Are their dogs trained to point out their shit to their owner? Because that seems really weird, but I guess that's how it has to go. I've never thought about this before, but now I'm having an existential crisis over this poor dog, having to direct his owner to this massive turd he just did like some kind of walk of shame. My dad asked me the other day, "Are you even listening to me?" Which is a really weird way to start a conversation, if you ask me. Two men are on opposite sides of a river. The first man shouts to the second, "How do I get to the other side of the river?" The second man shouts back, "You are on the other side of the river." Hey O'Connell. Looks to me like I've got all the horses. Hey Beanie. Looks to me like you're on the wrong side of the river. Mickey Mouse gets a call from his lawyer. The lawyer tells him, "Mickey, I'm sorry, but you can't divorce Minnie just because she's crazy." Mickey says, "I didn't say she was crazy. I said she was fucking goofy." 60% of the time, it works every time. What did the cannibal get when he was late for dinner? The cold shoulder. Two cannibals are eating a man. Cannibal 1 is working on the shoulder, but Cannibal 2 has already gotten to the stomach. Cannibal 1, "I'm glad you're enjoying dinner." Cannibal 2, "Oh yeah, I'm having a ball." Cannibal 1, "Don't eat so fast." What do you get when you mix goat DNA and human DNA? Kicked out of the petting zoo. My grandfather has the heart of a lion and a lifetime ban from the San Francisco Zoo. Reminds me of a Bob Saget joke I heard. Something like, "I have the brain of a German shepherd and the body of a teenage boy. They are both in my trunk and I want you to see them." Why do scuba divers fall backwards out of the boat? Because if they fell forwards they'd still be in the boat. Do you know why one side of the V formation, that geese line, is longer? There are more geese on that side. Oh, you know why flamingos always lift one leg while standing? Because if they lifted both legs they'd fall over. What's the difference between a hippo and a Zippo? One's really heavy and the other's a little lighter. A bunch of sailors on a boat want to have a smoke, but don't have any matches. So one sailor throws one of his cigarettes overboard, and the whole boat becomes a cigarette lighter. Four guys are hanging out. One of them says, "Hey, did you know 1 out of every 4 guys is gay?" Larry says, "I hope it's Chuck, because he's really cute." "Did you know swans can be gay?" A man went to Spain on his vacation. He stopped by a restaurant and saw an interesting dish. He asked the waiter about it, who said, "Son los cojones del toro, the balls of the bull, sir, we serve it once a day after the bull fights." The man places an order for the next day and leaves. When he comes back the next day and gets his dish, he looks at it for a minute and notices something is wrong. He calls the waiter over and says, "Excuse me, but why are these so much smaller than those from yesterday?" The waiter pauses, looks around, and replies, "I'm so sorry sir, but sometimes the bull does win." A man on vacation with his family arrives at a hotel. As he's checking in, he says to the clerk, "I'm on vacation with my family. Please make sure the porn channel is disabled." The clerk replies in disgust, "It's just regular porn, you sick fuck." I slept with a blind woman the other night. It went pretty well, mostly. Once the clothes came off she said to me, "You have the biggest dick I have ever laid my hands on." I said, "You're pulling my leg." I was on a blind date with this girl, and I told her being funny is the second best way to get a girl into bed. She asked what's the best way. I said a big knife. She laughed and said, "You're funny." I said, "Wise choice." There are 3 old ladies sitting on a park bench. A man in a trench coat walks by and flashes them. 2 of the old ladies have a stroke. The other one couldn't reach that far. A wife calls her husband and says, "Be careful driving home. Some complete moron is driving down the wrong side of the motorway." The husband replies, there's not just one, there's bloody hundreds of them. A lady approaches her priest and tells him, Father, I have a problem. I have 2 female talking parrots, but they only know how to say one thing. What do they say? The priest inquired. They only know how to say, hi, we are prostitutes. Want to have some fun? That's terrible. The priest exclaimed, but I have a solution to your problem. Bring your 2 female parrots over to my house and I will put them with my 2 male talking parrots whom I taught to pray and read the Bible. My parrots will teach your parrots to stop saying that terrible phrase and your female parrots will learn to praise and worship. Thank you. The woman responded. The next day the woman brings her female parrots to the priest's house. His 2 male parrots are holding rosary beads and praying in their cage. The lady puts her 2 female parrots in with the male parrots, and the female parrots say, hi, we are prostitutes. Want to have some fun? One male parrot looks over at the other male parrot and exclaims, put the beads away. Our prayers have been answered. A DEA officer stopped at a ranch and told the rancher, I need to inspect your ranch for illegally grown drugs. The rancher said, okay, but don't go in that field over there, as he pointed out the location. The DEA officer verbally exploded saying, Mister, I have the authority of the federal government with me. Reaching into his rear pants pocket, he removed his badge and proudly displayed it to the rancher. See this badge? This badge means I'm allowed to go wherever I wish. On any land. No questions asked. Do you understand? The rancher nodded politely, apologized, and went about his chores. A short time later, the old rancher heard loud screams, looked up, and saw the DEA officer running for his life, being chased by the rancher's big bull. With every step the bull was gaining ground on the officer, and it seemed likely that he'd sure enough get gored before he reached safety. The officer was clearly terrified. The rancher threw down his tools, ran to the fence, and yelled at the top of his lungs, your badge, show him your badge. People tell me I'm condescending. That means I talk down to people. What did Grandpa say before he kicked the bucket? Wanna see how far I can kick this bucket? I remember fondly my granddaddy's last words. Stop shaking that ladder, you fucking moron. I want to die quietly in my sleep like my granddad, not screaming in terror like his passengers. A man is getting a checkup. Doctor, you have to stop masturbating. Man, why? Doctor, because I'm trying to examine you. 2 fish are in a tank. One turns to the other and says, I don't know how to drive this thing. A vacationing penguin is driving his car through Arizona when he notices that the oil pressure light is on. He gets out to look and sees oil dripping out of the motor. He drives to the nearest town and stops at the first gas station. After dropping the car off, the penguin goes for a walk around town. He sees an ice cream shop and, being a penguin in Arizona, decides that something cold would really hit the spot. He gets a big dish of ice cream and sits down to eat. Having no hands, he makes a real mess trying to eat with his flippers. After finishing his ice cream, he goes back to the gas station and asks the mechanic if he's found the problem. The mechanic looks up and says, it looks like you blew a seal. No, the penguin replies, it's just ice cream. A man decides to quit his job and run away to join a pirate crew. After spending a few hours at the dock, he sees a man who has a peg leg, a hook hand, and an eye patch. The man is obviously a pirate captain. The man promptly joins the captain's crew, and they ship out to sea that very day. Later that night, the man walks up to the captain and says, I'm sorry, but I just can't hold back anymore. How did you get your peg leg? The captain says, "'Twas me first day at sea as a young lad. A great big swell came from the sea and knocked me overboard. Before me crew could pull me out, a giant one-eyed fish swam up and bit off me leg." The man goes, "That sounds terrible. What happened to your hand?" The captain says, "'Twas me second day at sea. Another great big swell came from the sea and knocked me overboard. Before me crew could pull me up, the giant one-eyed fish swam up and bit off my hand." The man tells the captain it sounds like the fish has it out for him and asks what happens to his eye. The captain says, "'Twas me third day at sea. I was looking up at the sky when a bird came and shat in me eye. The man says, and that's how you lost your eye? The captain responds, no, but 'twas me first day with the hook.